I know who you are, but if we can get you just to say your name, spell your name.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Deputy Chief Corey Daly, Corydaley.
Okay, you were talking about youth crime trends. Tell us just, that's obviously part of the impetus behind this. Tell us about what you're seeing or what concerns you about recent youth crime trends that you're seeing in Calgary.
Yeah, I think obviously community safety in its entirety is important to us, but youth crime trends, what we've seen is, and it's very contextual, and that's the importance, is the more serious the crime is where we see organized crime groups, criminal activity that operates within the city and across Canada and North America, recruiting youth to commit more violent crimes. They're not subjected to the same penalties as others generally, and they're easily accessible, easily influenced, and want to belong to a different family or lifestyle which they can offer. So that's a trend that we've seen in Calgary and across the country in serious crime.
But I guess I'm wondering, is this getting worse? Are you seeing some concerns out there?
Oh, for sure. And I mean, I wouldn't say it's worse per se. What we're seeing is the reporting around it and the activity and the brazenness with the criminal groups trying to access and recruit youth in different methods than they have been before. I mean, we have online access, we have chat rooms, we have secure chat platforms, stuff like that, where maybe we as the parents or community members don't readily see as we would of traditional past in that interaction, whether it's in schools or on street side.
So on the other side of it then, so how challenging is it to communicate with you to that intervention aspect of this, and why are you doing this inaugural event today?
Great question. That's exactly why we're here today, because we need to do it multifaceted. So communicating with youth and communicating with parents and families and our community members, we need to do that beyond the traditional means of a town hall and forums. Those work for certain people, but then we need to be multifaceted in that approach. YouthLink is a perfect partner for that. This is for youth, families, community members alike. They can come here and gain education on that and learn about how, as we just saw with the emojis. These are emojis people probably haven't seen in their lives or wonder why there's 10,000 emojis within their apps on their phones and what they're used for and how our youth are using them, or criminals are using them to engage with communications with our children.
Give me a sense of this. Are you seeing it's getting a lot more with organized crime or crime groups, or even just ad hoc groups that are accessing or trying to target teens to recruit them and stuff like this? Is it getting more complex? Are you seeing that this is really evolving in a way that concerns you?
Absolutely, yeah. It has evolved, and I say because there's non-traditional means, and I say traditional 20, 30, 40 years ago, and how youth would be recruited into a criminal lifestyle. I mean, they can be influenced quickly. We can see people influenced, and I wouldn't say radicalized in the sense with criminal activity, but they can be influenced and lead them down that lifestyle, and where they can engage in activity online, and then that transitions into the real world. Access to criminal material is much more prevalent now and easy, as we're going to see on the tables behind us. We can access weapons, we can make weapons, the technology is there to do it, the research is there to do it through online methods. The technology is there to buy, and it's relatively cheap, so that's increased production and access to our youth and to the community at large.
Well, why are these crime groups actually accessing the youth? Like, what's the strategy here? Why are we seeing them targeting youth? Is it
highly influential? I mean, as I said in my opening comments, and it's not to besmirch in any way our youth. They're highly influential, and they're open to making decisions that maybe aren't always in their best interests because of the way it's presented to them, the illicit lifestyle, whether it's the money or it's the prestige that come along with belonging to some of these groups, as they would purport to have you believe. And once you're in, very difficult to get out of the lifestyle, and the choices that you make have those lasting consequences.
So how are they being used? Is it through? Is it in the drug trade? Or are they out there? Are you seeing a lot of youth that are, what kind of crimes are they committing? B&Es? Is it drugs? What is it?
It can be all of it, and they can already be immersed in the lifestyle themselves, and then that also is an influence for them to take that next step as a gateway into a more serious offense. But they're being used, yes, whether it's to deal drugs, to run a package that they might not know what exists, to carry out a violent offense, whether that's with a knife or a gun. They'll be used for all sorts of different crimes within that criminal group, and that's also, as any criminal group operates, that's how you can increase your status within the group.
What's your message for parents or guardians on this? Just in a nutshell, what's key for them? What do they need to be doing?
I think the key message for parents and guardians is, as I mentioned before, is this is a collective effort. The Calgary Police Service, YouthLink alone are not the prevention model in its entirety, so we need parents to be aware. We need them to see something, to say something, to be engaged, to have those discussions, to be open that this is broader than what they may believe it is, and have those conversations. Notice any changes in your kids. be open to communicate with them, and then bring that forward to the Calgary Police Service or the schools, the teachers, so that we can actually intervene, interdict, and prevent them from taking those steps and make the community ultimately safer.
Final question from me, but just from a law enforcement point of view, just give folks a sense of this. Boil it down for us. Just what's key in terms of prevention here with youth? Is it communication early? Is it intervention early? What's really the top points?
Yeah, absolutely. You answered the question. It's early intervention, and prevention is the biggest intervention from committing a crime. We know that if you have an interaction with police and law enforcement and you get the right support, so if you've made the decision or a bad decision and now you're involved with the Calgary Police Service, that first instance of contact with law enforcement agencies, if prevention happens there, we put you in the right referral programs, get the right supports in place, connect you with your teachers and your parents appropriately. The recidivism rate it's staggeringly low for a reintroduction back into the criminal lifestyle. So, but we would ultimately like to prevent the decision from ever happening. So that's really the message.
Anybody?
Good. We're good. Thank you.
We're good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.